Welcome back to Coin Nexa Vault. Before we get into today's coins, I need you to understand something. The pennies sitting in your change jar right now are not all created equal, and what you're about to learn could make you look at every single one of them differently. We've got 3 Lincoln pennies on the list today, each one more jaw-dropping than the last. And I'm telling you right now with complete confidence that the final coin in this lineup is the kind of discovery that makes seasoned collectors stop mid-sentence and stare. So do not leave early, because the best is absolutely saved for last. The 1989 Lincoln penny. Here's something most people never stop to consider. The mint struck billions of these in 1989, and that massive production volume is exactly the reason certain era coins from this year are so spectacularly valuable, because when you're running presses at that kind of scale, quality control becomes a numbers game, and some genuinely remarkable mistakes made it out the door and into everyday circulation without anyone catching them. What you're looking for on this coin starts with the obverse. Flip it over and examine the area just to the right of the date, specifically the spacing between the last digit of the year and Lincoln's coat lapel, and then shift your eye upward to the lettering in Liberty on the left side of the portrait, because on the most desirable error examples, you'll find a clear doubling effect where the letters appear to have a shadow image slightly offset from the primary strike, visible to the naked eye or with a basic 10-power loop. That doubling, when it's clean, sharp, and confirmed on a coin that hasn't been circulated, is what separates a face value penny from something that makes collectors reach for their wallets fast. A certified MS-65 red example of a notable 1989 Lincoln cent error, graded and slabbed by PCGS or NGC, has moved through auction in the range of several hundred to well over $1,000 depending on the strength and clarity of the error, with the sharpest, most visually dramatic specimens commanding serious attention from advanced collectors who specialize in modern mint mistakes. The context here matters. 1989 was a year of peak production demand, with the Philadelphia Mint running at volumes that made individual die monitoring difficult, and it was precisely that pressure that allowed certain anomalous strikes to slip through, which means the coin in your hand right now, the one you've been using as a bookmark or tossing into a tip jar, might carry one of those anomalies locked inside it, preserved perfectly because it never rubbed against another coin in a cash register drawer. As always, condition is everything. The same error on a worn, circulated coin is a fraction of the value of the same error on a coin that retained its original mint luster, which is why third-party certification from PCGS or NGC is the move if you think you've found something real. Now hold that excitement, because the next penny on this list takes everything interesting about the 1989 and raises the stakes considerably. And I mean that in a very specific, very documentable way. Next, the 1983 Lincoln penny. And here's the thing that collectors who specialize in this era will tell you immediately. The D mint mark on a 1983 Lincoln cent is not a detail to gloss over. It is the detail because the Denver Mint's output in 1983 carries a specific characteristic that separates certain specimens from the enormous sea of ordinary cents produced that year. And once you know what to look for, you will check every single 1983 D you come across without exception. Turn the coin to the obverse and look at the mint mark itself, that small D sitting just below and to the right of the date, and examine its edges under magnification because on the error varieties that have driven collector demand, you're looking for a repunched mint mark, meaning the D was stamped into the die more than once at a slightly different position, leaving a secondary ghost impression that is partially visible alongside or beneath the primary letter. On strong examples, this is not subtle. You can see the overlapping impression clearly, and it gives the mint mark a doubled or shadowed appearance that is unmistakable once you've trained your eye to recognize it. Certified examples of the 1983 D Lincoln cent with a confirmed repunched mint mark in high mint state grades, think MS-65 red and above, have sold in the range of hundreds of dollars, with the finest known specimens in MS67 red territory attracting bids that climb significantly higher from collectors who want the absolute best representative of this variety. The year 1983 sits in an interesting window of Lincoln cent production history. The copper composition that had defined the coin for decades had just been changed the previous year to a copper-plated zinc construction, and the Denver facility was still calibrating its processes for the new planchet type, which contributed to a higher than usual incidence of die irregularities during this period. That production context is exactly why educated collectors target 1983 cents specifically, because the transition year created conditions that generated more die-related anomalies than you'd see in a more stable production period, meaning your odds of finding something genuinely interesting in a roll of 1983 cents are meaningfully better than in most other modern Lincoln cent years. Condition and certification define the difference between a curiosity and a real asset here, as they do with every coin we cover. And now, the final coin, the one I promised you at the very start of this video would be the most remarkable of all, and I am not walking that back. Next, the 1983 Lincoln penny, no mint mark, Philadelphia, and before you wonder why a plain Philadelphia cent is the grand finale of this list, let me tell you something that will reframe this coin entirely. The 1983 Lincoln cent with no mint mark is home to one of the most significant and well-documented double die obverse varieties in the entire modern Lincoln cent series, a coin that has been written about in major numismatic publications, chased by advanced collectors for decades, and consistently described by experts as one of the handful of post-1960 Lincoln cents that every serious collector genuinely wants to own. On the obverse, go directly to the lettering Liberty on the left, In God We Trust across the top, and look at each letter individually under a loupe, because on the true 1983 double die obverse, the doubling is not a faint whisper of a second impression. It is a bold, unmistakable separation between the primary and secondary images of each letter, with some specimens showing a split that is wide enough to be visible to the naked eye under good lighting without any magnification at all. Then check the date itself, the 1 and the 9 and the 8 and the 3, because the doubling extends there too, and a coin where you can see two distinct impressions of every digit in the date is a coin that stops people cold when they first see it. This is a variety with a real paper trail. It has been cataloged, it has auction records behind it, and it has sold in certified MS65 red condition for figures that climb well into the thousands of dollars, with the finest known examples in MS67 red commanding prices from advanced collectors that reflect just how scarce those top-grade specimens genuinely are. Because while the variety itself is known, a pristine, uncirculated example with full red luster and razor-sharp doubling is a legitimately difficult coin to find. The 1983 Philadelphia Lincoln cent sits at a production crossroads. The first full year of copper-plated zinc cents after the composition change, a period when die preparation was being adjusted and quality control was navigating new variables. And it was in that specific window that this double die slipped through and into circulation, where the vast majority of them were spent, worn down, and lost to history before anyone realized what they were. The few that survived in pristine condition, never circulated, stored away by someone who set aside rolls of new cents without knowing they were sitting on something remarkable. Those are the coins that show up at major auctions today and remind the entire hobby that the most valuable modern coins aren't the ones everyone already knows about. They're the ones hiding in ordinary places, looking like every other cent, waiting for someone with the right knowledge to pick them up and actually look. If you've got a coin like any of these sitting at home, drop a comment and let me know. And if you enjoyed this, hit subscribe so you never miss the next one.